Hello traders, welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 205. Iliya here tuning in. You know what we're going to be doing, having a look at the market, how it developed this week, what kind of opportunities we had, and most importantly what we can expect for the upcoming week. Now you know we are trading into August, which is believed to be a slow, tricky, choppy month because again, summer is here, the markets are getting a little bit slower, there is not a lot of volume, there is not a lot of liquidity, which means that there could be a bit more manipulations in order for the market to make a move. Of course, as I said in the last weekly outlook, make sure you also take some break because again, it's been half a year of hard work and we all do deserve a little break, a little bit of a step aside from the market. I personally did take some time off, but it was not intentional. It was just because I was with my grandparents and they don't have Wi-Fi. So they have like their mobile phones. They don't have a lot of internet. So I spent like a week without much internet, which was amazing. And right now I'm back after 1,400 kilometers trip back to my place. I'm going to be doing a little bit more traveling in August and then pretty much I'm going to be going full focus from September. So once again, take some time to recharge, but of course, keep showing up, keep looking at the market because else you're going to lose your touch. Okay. So as you know, we're going to head into the market right now, cover all the pairs, see what happens. And of course, without having any expectations, we're just going to draw a couple of forecasts and potentially see what could happen. So if you're new to this channel, it's all about trading. I share these weekly outlook and setups every Saturday, and once per week, I'm going to be sharing an educational piece of content or a trading setups breakdown video. So make sure you're subscribed and turn on the notifications in order not to miss when a video comes out. And if you already did, let's head into it. Of course, we're gonna get started with a Dixie. Before we do that, let's check out the news for next week. So of course, this week, I mean the week that just passed, we had NFP, we had a lot of heavy news and there was some volatility, but again, I just didn't really look at the market. So right now you can see we have no major news because I have just filtered for red impact news. So we just have a bank holiday for the cat. On Monday, Tuesday, we have harmonized index of consumer prices for Germany, which again, it is a heavy impact, but it's not as heavy if it's like for the whole Eurozone. Wednesday, Chinese yuan, we don't care. Inflation expectations for the NZD. So if you're trading NZD, then definitely that could be something to monitor. And then Thursday is the highlight because we have CPI for the US. So very, very, very important. Okay, on Thursday, and then Friday we have GDP for the pound and PPI for the US. So Thursday and Friday, very, very, very important days. So again, what could that mean for the overall development of the week? Monday is probably going to be slow, then Tuesday and Wednesday can pick up some direction, and then of course Thursday and Friday are just either going to kind of manipulate and make a move or maybe give a continuation of what happened in the first couple of days. So again, you always have to show up, you always have to tune in, and you always have to be flowing with the market so that you kind of have an expectation of what could happen next. Now, for the past 3 weeks, which is almost kind of a month, we have been pulling back on the Dixie. So since we broke structure right there, the market broke down, made a lower low, and right now it has been pulling back for 3 weeks. So what I like about it is that we had like this push down, and the retracement is kind of slow. It's not like very impulsive. It doesn't show us a lot of bullish strength, which still keeps me thinking that we are overall bearish on the dollar. So again, I haven't looked very, very deep into the fundamentals and if they actually do support the bearish dollar. But so far it's bearish, and actually looking at this candle right there, it's a very nice rejection on top coming in from pretty much this kind of, it's not extreme, but I do believe this is kind of what was demand here that turned into supply and broke structure down. Because again, that I've seen that a lot of people call this like flip zones, and it does actually work really nice because at this point, this was demand. The market came in, reacted, and then it just broke with lots of imbalance. So then definitely this little zone right there, this little range is a very powerful supply. Now the market has come in, and I do believe I mentioned this to be as of structural liquidity. So if you check out my last weekly outlook, I do believe a lot of the pairs actually met the objectives. So for example, EU and the DXY both filled in some very strong imbalance right there on the daily. This is pretty much the last imbalance on the daily because again, if you remember, this is the daily high, that is the daily low. Why is this a fib like this? And we're right now way above the 50% and we filled in the last daily imbalance. So right now what we need to see is the forward time frame to shift bearish in order for us to start taking shorts. And pretty much we did this, which is amazing, and it looks very nice. It looks very, very clean. We broke structure to the upside right there. We shifted structure to the downside right there. Not very strong, but we closed with a body below. And then of course that was the lower high that caused it. The market just pulled back. Did it tap 50%? Yep, tap 50%. And then on Friday, that is probably NFP in perfect alignment with that daily filling the imbalance, forward aligning down, pulling back for a lower high. It just dumped on NFP. So that is pretty much when the technicals align with the fundamentals. Now we have a brand new structure break right there. We have a brand new supply. That's the most recent supply. And I'm just gonna say shorts for now. I am not 100% just because of the fundamentals. But again, weekly is bearish, daily is bearish, daily filled in the imbalance, forward aligned bearish right now. So from now on, everything right there could be targets. Like if you just take it to the low, like this one got taken right there. So that one would be next. This one is a proper one as well. Then of course this low right here. So all of these lows are potentially going to become liquidity. But of course the market is right now potentially going to respond. So it pushed right now. So right now it's going to react from this demand, pull back. Then it's going to break this low, react. Then it's going to break this low. Right there, react, and then it's possibly going to continue following down. So that is my outlook on the Dixie. We have a very, very, very big imbalance right there. Oops. I've got on rusty, you see, haven't looked at the charts for a bit, and my clicking skills have depreciated. So very nice bearish move. Forward lower high, pulling back right now. Of course, you can draw your range. So what I'm going to be looking for is for the market pulling back to 50%, filling in the imbalance, and then eventually getting a short and targeting these lows. So very, very, very simple outlook on the Dixie. Bearish bias. Let's see how the other pairs are looking like and if they actually support a bearish Dixie, which means that they should be overall bullish. So let's see. Similarly to the Dixie, but in the opposite direction, EU has been in a beautiful weekly uptrend. We broke structure up here. We broke structure up here, and right now the market is tapping into this little demand right there, which is very nice. So we're pulling back for 3 weeks, and again this weekly candle, look at that, it's signifying a nice rejection, a nice indecision as well. So let's see if it's actually gonna hold from there. Now the daily time frame exactly the same as the Dixie. This is the low, that's the high, and where the market came in all the way down to fill in that last bit of imbalance, which is what I do believe I shouted in the last outlook. I do think I was looking for shorts coming into this imbalance right there, perfectly filled. And right now, look at that, like we have a very nice morning star formation right there for the candlestick lovers, and we're having a very nice engulfing candle on Friday. So that means that the forward time frame has potentially aligned. Let's just try to find it out. Well, that was a valid forward break, and then of course, yeah, it was a little bit tough. So it really depends on how you take it. If you take it like this, then of course you can take this long. But if you then think this is your break, then there is still a break right there. So we are definitely bullish. And then of course the higher low is this one. So I'm taking all of these candles right there. Those are the ones that make a higher low formation. And then of course I'm gonna draw my range. Then I'm gonna see if there is some imbalance, which there is. And of course I'm just gonna say, well, wait for a pullback and a push. What is also very possible to happen, it's something that I have been mentioning a lot to you guys, is after the first trend change, that first move that makes like that trend change and that makes the forward align with the daily, for example, the market does not tend to pull back to 50%. So what I would also expect is for the market to give like a little pullback, initiate again, and then it's all about continuing to flow with the market and keeping following the ranges. So once again, for targets, like there is a beautiful target right there that is absolutely going to get crushed. Look at the way it's like equals. Then of course, after this gets taken, we're going to have a retracement, and after the retracement, this one is going to get attacked. And then of course, you just keep repeating everything. What is also very possible is we just rocket to the upside. But there are not some heavy news to cause actually this rocket to the upside, so I don't expect it. But next week actually does look really good. Even from Saturday, it's very rare that we actually get a textbook kind of structure. So let's see, it looks very good. Let's see if EU is going to give us a little bit of a pullback towards the imbalance, then get a long, or if it's going to continue carrying on. So if it carries on, we keep carrying on with it and trying to catch something. So bullish bias, clearly supporting the bearish bias on the DXY. Let's see how it goes. Personally, I haven't taken any trades this week, so there is nothing to break down. So we just focus on forecasts. So that's EU. Let's have a look at EJ. It looks like the JPYs might have been tricky this week because just looking at EJ, like we're having a very nice inside bar after this massive bearish week. We're having an overall bullishness, but not really. So on the weekly time frame does not tell me much. Like again, just to recap, we came in right there, we took out that weekly high by very little. Then we massively rejected down, which technically we can say that this is like a structure breakdown. But what I do believe happened is we came in to fill in the imbalance right there to 50%. And overall, the outlook is longs. So maybe if EU kind of starts actually shifting to the upside very clearly, maybe like Euro-yen is gonna follow. But of course, that depends also on the JPYs. So yeah, I mean, here we did have a forward break, which I can mark as a forward breakdown. And yeah, technically then this was the supply. So what happened this week is we on Monday came in, Tuesday, we didn't do much on this. So still very hard to forecast when it comes to the daily. Like, is this zone gonna hold? Are we gonna push down, or are we gonna reverse going higher? What I see this is also what I told you on the DXY as a flip zone, the market reacting from the supply, then breaking, then coming back to retest from the other side. That could definitely be the case. Probably the forward. Oh yeah, now I remember we had this crazy stuff happening right there. So we did eventually have like a trend change to the upside. Then we have, oh come on, I've gotten rusty. Then we have a forward break up. Then we have a forward breakdown right there. Then the market pulls back for a lower high. It gives you a short. So we have a breakdown right there. And yeah, so clearly right now, this is the last lower high. That is our last range. It's bearish. So it really depends on you right now and your analysis. Like if you really solely believe on most recent structure, like for example, if we ignore that the daily is bearish or that the weekly is this, and if we just zoom in and focus on what is happening right there, it is bearish. We broke up, we broke down, pulled back 50%, filled in that little gap right there, imbalance, boom, broke down, pulls back right now above the 50%. It already filled in the imbalance as well. There it is, filled in the imbalance, reacting right now, and probably like on the 50-minute time frame, it might be giving a short, but oh, just looking like this price action right there, it doesn't look good. But yeah, I mean, let's see. We're tapping inside a daily supply, okay? The daily time frame and no, the daily is not bearish. Yeah, it is actually bearish. So the daily is bearish, the forward is bearish. So Euro-yen is giving me a bearish bias, which definitely contradicts the one that was introduced just on EU, which is bullish. So again, let's see. And of course, you gotta be really careful on what happens on UJ and what happens on Euro USD, for example. Because if Euro USD massively goes up right now and USD JPY massively goes down, this one is gonna chop around. Okay, so be careful, but based on technicals, it looks really good for shorts. So of course, jump on your intraday timeframes and try to catch a short, although like if as I said, like EU and UJ are in contradiction, then it's not gonna move very clearly. But again, let's keep carrying on with the JPYs. Let's see if we can get an overall bias. And probably I'm gonna tell you to wait and like maybe focus on the USDs. Let's carry on. Aussie dollar, let's have a look. Very interesting thing happened is we finally took out this low right there as liquidity. Why? Well, because if you remember from here, we had a weekly structure break. The market pulled back. It tried to form a higher low. Then it pushed and it failed to break this high by very, very, very little. So it just came in, it stopped. And of course, so if this low fails to cause a break of the high, it becomes liquidity. And there it is. It just got taken. Now, the big question is this liquidity taken? So are we going to reverse higher, or are we going to attack even this liquidity to the downside right there? So that is the very, very, very big question right now for the Aussie. Now dropping onto the daily time frame, well, with this push down, well, no. There's the daily range. So that's the daily low, that's the daily high. Everything right there is internal when it comes to that major daily range. What we also see is that there was a little bit of imbalance right there, and guess what? Boom, we came in and we filled it. Okay, so right now, if the forward time frame aligns bullish, we can definitely be looking for longs, which is gonna be probably what we have the same as EU, but not really. I mean, this one is definitely more heavily bearish. Like it broke down right there. It really depends whether you take this as a break. Personally, for me, it's not, but sometimes you gotta make exceptions. So how I see this is still, it's very bearish still. Like look at the push down and look at the pullback. It's very weak. So very hard to forecast on this one. Like if I really want to take a long trade on this pair, I would like to see like a clear forward trend up. And what is the trend right now? It's clearly down. Okay, so if you want to take longs, then at least wait for this supply to break, like wait for it to break up, then come back to retest, and then you take your long. And as for right now, well, I mean, the forward time frame is still bearish. It came in, it reacted from this supply, and it's probably giving you like a 15-minute short setup. So if you want to go short, then definitely do so. But according to me, with the bearish DXY and with the bullish euro, this one will most likely chop around or eventually turn bullish because they always tend to align together. Okay, so that's the Aussie. Very interesting positioning right now. Took a lot of liquidity below this low. Filled in the last daily imbalance that is right there. So again, the big question is right now, is it gonna hold? Like this is a very strong demand as well. Is it gonna hold and reverse higher, or is it gonna come on and break this low as well? Like that's the big question. So let me know, guys, what you think about it. But yeah, personally, I'm not trading the Aussie dollar at all, so I don't care much about it. But let's see what's gonna happen. So that's the Aussie. Personally, I would like to see a break of this, retest, and then a continuation. But if not, then of course you can expect this low to be broken. And then maybe if this low is broken, you can have a trend change to the upside. So again, let's see. Aussie JPY, let's have a look on the weekly time frame. Is it tricky? Well, yes, it is. We're also having an inside bar on this guy. Yep, is an inside bar similar to EJ. Pushed up, pulling back, filling in the weekly imbalance. So daily time frame. Yeah, the daily time frame is still in this range. Let's not get it wrong. That's the daily range. That's the daily demand right there. And similar to all the other pairs, we have this daily imbalance that kind of came in and got filled. We massively reacted, and right now we're still retracing back down. Like we had a very nice push on Monday, but then we have 4 days of push down. Why? Well, probably, oh man, this is not good. So yeah. So that's the last fall structure. It got broken. And right now we're just retracing back down. Like you can even take this as a trend change down. Like according to my rules, this is actually, it is valid. So if you take this, then you take this, then yeah, man, this is just, it's just not good. Okay, so when again you open a chart and it just doesn't make sense, well, guess what? If it doesn't make sense, you should not be trading it. Again, we can try to make sense of it, okay, which is technically right now, this, yeah, this one is just very not nice. So that is the last supply, but here the break came in, then it pushed up, then we pushed down, we came back into supply, and right now we're still bearish. It really depends also if you take this as a trend change or a structure break, because you can still be looking at this range right there overall. And like you can be looking to take a long from here. So again, when it's confusing, when you have too many outcomes, when you're confused on what is happening, just wait. And just looking at this AJ, like both on the daily, then going on to the 40 time frame, is just tricky and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It pushed very strongly to the upside. Right now it's very correctively going back down. So is it gonna shift bullish and maybe give us a long, or is it gonna continue carrying down? Well, currently, like on NFP, we had a nice push down right there. Well, no, technically NFP was probably here. Wick down, wick up, pulling back down, and look at the chop that was going on before that. So tricky. Again, I'm not gonna push it forward and try to force something. This is currently how structure looks like. It's overall bearish on the 40 time frame, it's bullish on the daily. So again, we might have a structure breakdown, but then if we eventually get a structure breakup or trend change, then we should start going long. Okay, so allow it to show you what it wants to do, keep following with the market, and again, be careful with the JPYs. Next on the list are the NZDs. Let's have a look. So again, just to recap, we had kind of a structure break, or it does also look like a liquidity gap, which is we came in, broke it with a wick, and then the next candle is very important, a massive bearish candle. So again, yes, this is a break, it broke up, but it's not a significant break, and we did not really stay above it to like really confirm the break. And what really matters is to observe what happens after the break. Like if there is a massive rejection down, well, then you gotta be careful, because most likely the low could be taken out. And you can see this is where we're going. Like the Aussie dollar took it, but NZD/USD still hasn't. So again, what is happening right there? Daily time frame in this, on this pair, like it's tricky, because you can say like the daily reverse here or the daily reverse here, or you can still be looking at this daily leg right there. So again, just looking at it right now in terms of weekly and the daily, this one is confusing, so most likely I'm not gonna trade it. Okay, but let's maybe try to check out this outcome. Let's say that there was a daily break right there, the market pullback, lower high, then the market breaks down again on the daily here. So that is our daily supply. right now. Where is it? There it is. And we could be headed potentially towards this low right here. So then dropping onto the 40 time frame, let's see what is happening with the most recent structure. So yeah, oh, beautiful right there. We had a very nice range, manipulated the range, broke down, then pulls back on Monday and then gives you a short. So again, try to explore how you could have taken shorts right there because it does look very good. It came in, filled in imbalance. Is that on Monday? Yeah, Monday, and then it just dropped like crazy then. So if you just follow the 40 time frame, beautiful trade on the NZD. Zooming in. Okay, so zooming in, there is a breakdown and then there is a break up right there, then there is a breakup right here, and then there is a breakup right here. So very, very corrective, not very nice, but that is how the 40 time frame looks like right now. So let me try to drop the daily range. That's the daily range. We're still not into the 50%. Okay, so a couple of things could happen on this one. I mean, we can just reverse right now. We can just break down and attack this liquidity low, or we can hold, go to the 50%, maybe even take some structural liquidity and then align bearish from here and then go down. Because this right there is a very nice liquidity point. That also has like the last imbalance that is on the voyage. Okay, so there are my two outcomes on NZD. Plain and simple. We either break down because we kind of pulled back enough, but we're still kind of bullish on the voyage. So like if you go on Monday and if you start seeing like a nice bullish shift from this zone, that could definitely be a long, okay? But it's going to be a long if it's going to head into the liquidity, if it's going to head inside this daily zone and then sell from there. Okay, so let's see. Those are my two scenarios on NZUSD. Again, plan accordingly and allow the market to show you what it wants to do. Now, the NZD, the JPY part of the NZD might be tricky. So let's just take a look. That's the weekly range, filling in the imbalance, pulling back for potential higher low formation. And yeah, the daily is tough. Like it broke down here, it broke up here. So yeah, it's bullish on the daily. Pushed up, pulling back. Is it gonna form a higher low on the daily? I don't know. And yeah, in this case, this is still the daily range. Unlike, I think, AJ had a breakdown, something like this here. Where's the last imbalance on this guy? Is this imbalance right there? I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so that's giving me a hard time. You see, when I start thinking, come on. When I start thinking too much, there's the imbalance, it's filled. Okay, so what I'm just gonna say, give this one some time because the daily range is big, as is the hourly range, because the hourly is the same as the daily range. There is no, according to me, there is no valid hourly higher lows right there. It's pulling back very slowly to the downside. It's filling in this imbalance. I'm not sure if this one is an imbalance. Does look like it. So maybe this one is something where the market could be headed for. Personally, if I'm to long this pair, I would like to see like a just bullish price action, because right now we're bearish, like lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. It just keeps making bearish structure. So if we start shifting up, although it could be internally, because again, right now, I always keep saying, like, be careful of your major minor structure. That's the major low. That's the major high. Everything in between is going to be internal. Okay, so you decide whether you're going to take internal or not. But again, if this is your only choice, then of course I would wait for an internal shift up in this case. And then of course I'm going to try to take a long. So that's NZD. Not very clear. I mean, NZUSD is a little bit cleaner because it has two very clear scenarios, while on NZD-JPY and the overall JPY as a whole, it's not very clean. So again, as always, let's give them some time and most importantly, flow with the markets and allow them to show us what could happen. All right, let's have a look at USDN, which is probably going to be very tricky. And yes, judging like by the last 3 weekly candles, we had a bullish, we had an inside bar, and then this week we broke out, but it's showing us a lot of rejection from the upside. So very, very tricky. Like again, if we just track it to the left, there was that imbalance that was filled in fully. Okay, and we reacted from it very nicely. So again, is this a weekly break? I don't know. I don't have like very strict rules for the weekly time frame, but again, the market pushed down, it's pulling back. So is this going to be a lower high right there for the market to push down, or are we going to continue up? Well, of course, that's the big question. Dropping onto the daily time frame, well, the daily time frame here is the same as that weekly push, because the daily starts from here, it ends right there. All of this is internal, and the market came in and filled in that last bit of imbalance right here. So it does look like pretty much similar to the Dixie. Right now, fill in the last imbalance on the daily. It came in into that It came into that zone right there. It broke the high on the FOH. It broke the low on the FOH. Again, not significantly right there, but you can see it still pulled back and it made one more break right there. So currently, if you're just completely simplistic and systematic, there's the last lower high. We do have some imbalance as well. There is one little tiny one here, and there is also another one formed right there. There is your 50% range, pullback, short. Okay, so that's my outlook on UJ. I'm looking for shorts right now, just based on that daily range. We filled in the daily imbalance, we tapped into supply, we aligned bearish on the FOH. DXY is bearish. It does really look good right now for shorts. So let's see. Let's see. That's it in terms of structure. It's very clean. Let's just see if it's gonna pull back, give us a short right there. Again, keep in mind August could get kind of a couple of liquidations. I wouldn't be surprised if like it comes in, wicks the high, and then maybe it reverse. So that's very possible, which means that again structure might not be respected very much. So just keep that in mind. Okay. But again, this is my outlook on USD yen. It's bearish. So again, if USD is bearish, then like for example, Euro USD, Aus USD, and NZD USD are going to be bullish. So trading their JPY part is not going to be a good idea. So again, keep that in mind. Let's have a glance at my favorite pair, Mr. USD CAD. I'm joking, of course, it's my least favorite pair. We're having a very nice bullish candle this week after quite a couple of weeks of choppiness. So again, if you remember, we took a lot of liquidity from here, but again, after this liquidity was taken, we just entered into this very big choppy range. So I was overall expecting longs, but it just took so much time for something to happen that it kind of made me give up. Like on the daily time frame, we had a daily break here, which made like this our daily lower high, and you can see just on Friday we came in and we didn't really break above it, but we just kind of wicked it up and closed below. So right now it's going to be very, very, very tricky once again, because what I presume is going to happen is the market is just going to pull back in and start chopping again, because that is USD CAD, right? But let's see. So the daily just wicked up. So right now, after this liquidity is taken, we can expect for the market to retrace a little bit. Like the higher low, I would say it's this. I'm just going to take like the last bearish candle. This is the low. That's the high. Let's see if it pulls back. Is there an imbalance? Well, there is here. Come on. There is one right there that looks like it kind of almost got filled in. So let's check out the FOH. The FOH is probably going to be tricky on the top. Yeah. So it came in, higher low, higher high, then it just whoop. Very, very, very quick TC. And right now it's coming in to potentially take out the high. So what I'm just going to say on you, CAD, just give it some time. Okay, just give it some time right now, because it just took out this massive liquidity high right there. The 4-hour time frame kind of broke down, and right now it's coming in back up very strongly again. So don't rush to take a short from here, although it's like possible, but just looking at it so close to the high, it most likely it's gonna break, because there are a lot of scenarios in this one. It can continue going up. Right now it can maybe go up, then TC down, and then retest back down, or of course it can initiate a pullback to the downside. So again, let's see. Let me know, guys, what you think about UCAD in the comments. Personally, again, I'm just skipping this pair always because I just don't resonate with it. It's just too choppy for me. So, and although I like slow moving pairs, this one is way too slow for me. It tends to move very fast at times, but most of the times it's just chopping. So I don't like it. But those are my scenarios. Let's see how it works out, and of course, if we can catch some trades on it. Next on the list are the GBPs. Let's start with GU. So very cleanly on the weekly time frame, we had this very nice break up, and right now we're pulling back to that last little bit of demand right there, and we came in very, very, very deep. It does look like it wants to break, and again, it really depends right now on the Dixie and whether it's really gonna hold potentially and push the market up. So yeah, the daily range is exactly the same as the weekly range. There it is. The market pulls back all the way down, and you can see there wasn't really any imbalance right there. And usually where there is no imbalance, the market tends to grab liquidity like with some fake trend changes, some like up and down, some choppiness. And this is most likely what is happening. Like you can see the market came in below the 50%. It really looked like it's gonna explode. Came down again, pulls back, chops around, broke down, lower high, lower low, but it's pretty much very nicely bearish. And right now, if I also explore like the 4-hour time frame, it came in to take this very last kind of low right there. It's all flat. The market collected them all. Now, if we zoom in on the 4-hour time frame, there was a break of structure down there. Then respectively, there is gonna be a trend change right here. The market pulls back, higher low, and right now it makes it's not valid. Yeah, but actually this one was the one that broke. So that's the low, that's the high, but the market then pulls back and then it continues to break up. Okay, so you can look at this at two ways. You can either look at this as the demand or this is the demand, right? It really depends on your rules. And if I stick to mine, I'm just gonna take this. So that's gonna be my range, but also if you can take it like that. So just keep those two scenarios in mind. It's not 100% clear even to me. So I'm just gonna keep both in mind. But what I'm looking at right now is that the market is aligning bullish after taking this very last liquidity zone right there. So again, let's just see what's gonna happen. Is it gonna pull back to here and react? Is it gonna pull back here and react in order for it to take this low as liquidity? Let's see. But I'm just gonna say I'm bullish overall on GU, mainly because I see EU is getting bullish, I see DXY is getting bearish, and I see that this one has pulled back all the way down. So if it's gonna go bullish, it has to be right now. If not, it's most likely just gonna break down and take the liquidity below this low. So that's GU right now. There is no, what I don't like is that there is no imbalance to the upside. Like there is no clear push up to really show us strength. There is one little tiny right there, which is still fine. So again, let's see how the market pulls back. If it's gonna give us an intraday setup for a long trade, and then of course you can start targeting this high, and then eventually this high and the highest high. But of course that is gonna take a lot of time. So let's focus on what is happening right now. GJ, let's see what's happening here. Well, being a JPY pair, we saw the JPYs are tricky. So weekly time frames still chops right there at the top. Daily, yeah, daily is bullish. It broke up here, pulling back right now on the daily. If I just draw the daily range, yeah, it still has space to the 50%. Going on to the 4H. Yeah, the 4-hour time frame is bearish because here we had like a breakup, had a breakdown, lower high, lower low. Here we made another lower low, another lower high. We are filling in the imbalance, which we kind of did to the 50%. And right now we're most likely headed for a new lower low, and we're most likely headed for the 50% of this range right there and filling in that imbalance right there. So it's probably a little late to take a short, because the short you should have taken would be from here. So again, the market will most likely continue going down, fill in the imbalance, and then from there it's going to be like all about monitoring what's going to happen, because I cannot forecast that far away in time. Okay, what I could forecast is that we could potentially go down. So if before the market breaks this low, it maybe offers us like a pullback into the highs, or maybe just pulls back up there and then it starts shifting down, then that could be a nice short opportunity. But if it just crushes the lows, then you have to be careful, because it might start aligning bullish. So again, currently the short-term bias is bearish, but I would expect this one to go overall long at some point in time. But of course that will depend on GU, and that will also depend on UJ. So be very careful with the JPYs, but this is what I see right now for GJ. And of course GU looks much better. So what I'm going to conclude with the JPYs is that you got to focus on the USDs. An overall bearish week on gold doesn't give us a lot of clues about what could happen next. So again, just to recap, we're overall bullish on gold. And right now, as the Dixie starts to align bearish, maybe right now is the time for gold to go long. So let's check out the daily time frame. So since we took out this liquidity, the market started retracing back down. And yeah, again, it really depends whether you take this as a major higher low formation, so that the market become bearish here, lower high, lower low. Right now, it's probably pulling back for a lower high. Or if you still consider this low to this high to be your daily range. Okay, so I would personally consider both, but what I will most likely focus on right now is the 4H, because again, daily, everything is filled. Like I don't see any imbalance that is left. Like there was one little guy right there, it got filled, and yeah, pretty much it got filled this week. So that could be, let's just mark it up right there. That could be a very good sign that we might be about to reverse. And I really like Friday's candle, took out the low, took out the high, so a nice bullish candle. And yes, you can see on the 4H, like, yeah, technically this candle took out the low and then immediately came in and took out the high. So that's a pure manipulation candle. I would personally wait for a bit more signs from gold in order to say that it's going bearish. Like you can see here, we just drop, pull back, lower high, massively drop down. So right now we are going to be encountering this. lower high right there. So we gotta be careful because the market could pull back, could give us a long trade and go up, but the market could tap inside supply and keep breaking to the lows. So again, be careful, have all those outcomes in place, and just allow for the market to show what it wants to do. Because again, gold is in a very delicate place. It's been kind of a little bit tricky for the past couple of weeks, but again, it's actually predictable because it's just going down and like it makes those major lower high swings. But as of right now, like after this chop, we took out the low, we took out the high. Right now, it's the first sign for a potential trend change. So again, as I always say, wait for that first higher low to be created and for the market to make a new structure break. And then usually the next one is going to work out because you have a confirmed trend. Okay, right now we have that first sign. It could just tap inside the supply and dump, because you can see there is a lot of momentum coming in from here, and the momentum to the upside is not very strong yet. And there is like this liquidity low that could still be taken on gold. So again, be careful, be cautious, but I could say that we might start going long, because again, as I told you, the DXY is looking really short. So if the DXY holds and starts going down, then gold is definitely going to follow up. So of course, if you trade gold, always make sure to monitor the Dixie because they're inversely correlated. So that's my outcome on gold. I will be looking for overall longs, but I would personally wait for a bit more confirmation that the market is actually shifting longs on the 4-hourly time frame. Let's have a look at the indices. So US 30 is having a very nice bearish week. Well, so did all the indices that we're pretty much covering in this outlook. And we're starting to fill in, like first is going to be the weekly imbalance, but then of course we're most likely going to go below the 50% to fill in the daily imbalance. And then from there we can start longing. So I'm already preparing for potentially investing a little bit. As the market is right now in the bullish overall market, so any pullback right now becomes an investing opportunity. So dropping onto the daily time frame, well, you can see like here on Wednesday we had a very nice drop. Okay, so the daily time frame is still bullish. Like that's the problem, because again we're trading between this low and this high, and like there is like this internal shift that happens on the Forex, which is very good. But right now what we're looking for is for that daily to pull us back to the 50% and then hopefully start going higher. Like again, you see this is from last week. We broke structure down, we pulled back, we chop around, right? And pretty much on Tuesday this week, well, yeah, Monday came in. So yeah, this is where we closed, right? So Monday came in, reacted, and came in again, right? So you can see the manipulation, and then it just started rolling down, and technically to create the structure break all the way here. But then you see what happens immediately is the market comes in, massively liquidates to the upside, and then just shifts down again. So if I just take this NFP move right there, well, that is going to be what we have right now. So if we have some sort of a pullback, then potentially we can continue going shorts. So if I'm trading indices this week, I'm going to be looking for shorts. Why? Well, because all of them probably are going to be traveling towards the 50% and towards filling in the imbalance, because they do have a little bit of a bearish signals coming in right now. And I really like that the 4-hourly time frame held from the top right there, and that right now we're having a clear downtrend. So let's see if next week is going to be a shorting week for the indices. Like Nasdaq is already like in a pullback mode. Got a bearish week here, bullish round right there, and a very nice bearish candle this week. Very strong. Jumping onto the daily time frame, well, the daily time frame is coming in to fill in that last imbalance, which it almost did fully. We had a very nice short here on the 2nd of August. I see the market really dumped. And yeah, then just dropping onto the 4-hourly time frame. That was tricky because we had like this breakdown, then this break up, then this break up. And like if you took this as a break up, and then yeah, taking the one that caused this breakup, you could take this if you want to be very recent, but according to me, it was actually this guy. So this is where we shifted bearish. And then the market broke down here. Then the market broke up here. So it's kind of everywhere. Like then it started chopping here. And right now it's just so, yeah. When it comes to Nasdaq, I'm just going to give this one a little bit time. It like especially on the 4-hourly time frame, this little cluster of price right there since Wednesday, it's not very good. So again, on the macro side of things, like this one is, but it has a lot of imbalance to be filled in right there. But is it gonna pull back that deep, right? Or is it just gonna stop like within the last daily range? Like that's the very big question, because if we do break this low, that is gonna unlock this low. It's gonna unlock these lows right there until it stops somewhere. Okay, so let's be very mindful of this. But personally, for intraday setups, I would wait for something more, maybe like a break, a retest, then potentially a push down, because this one, Unlike US30, it hasn't taken out the low. You can see US30, for example, it took out the low clearly, so maybe it's gonna print in one more candle right there, and then if it starts pulling back, it's gonna be very good. We can look for some longs, while Nasdaq, it's just chopping around at the bottom. Let's have a look at my favorite one, S&P. So it didn't take out this liquidity and it's starting to pull back right now. The first imbalance that I see on the weekly is this, which is filled right now. So let's see if we're gonna start holding. But in terms of the daily, so I'm just gonna delete what happens right there. In terms of the daily, we're having a daily break. So that's a daily break on the bottom, right? So that's a daily break, very important. Yeah, pretty much like the supply is here. Supplies here, we're having like a very big imbalance right there to be potentially filled, although it kind of came in and got filled a little bit right there. So like it's very tricky. Like you can see how we had these 3 runs into the highs, like 1, 2, 3, and then we just drop right now. So the big question is, once again, are we gonna stop somewhere right there and start reversing higher with the uptrend, or are we gonna start filling in like bigger imbalances to the downside or maybe make a bigger pullback? So again, that is very fundamentally based. So let's try to look at the 40 time frame. Like the 40 time frame shifted here, which was last week, and then this week we pulled back and we perfectly held actually from here. Lower high that we just massively dumped. Then of course that little cluster of price, and right now the last structure break is right there, and we're having like this as a supply. So once again, a lot of things could happen. Like we could potentially pull back and take a short. We can potentially pull back to fill the imbalance and take a short, or we can just continue to dump to the downside. So once again, with indices after NFP, I'm gonna give them some time, but personally, I'm gonna start looking like on the weekly time frame or even the monthly time frame. Monthly time frame had a very nice push up. It does have a little bit of imbalance to be filled even right here. So if the market starts pulling back all the way down there, it's going to be really nice to later catch some investing opportunities from right there. So let's see. It's kind of 50-50 so far, but I'm just going to keep following the intraday price action on the 40 time frame, and then of course flowing with the daily structure as well, which is currently bearish. So I do think it's a good idea to start looking for some shorts on indices. So let's see, but again, don't go too hard for it. Cryptos, yeah. Bitcoin is just chopping around, so I just moved this to here. I'm still waiting for around 27.5k, and Ethereum, I don't care much about it. So just to recap, DXY beautifully tapping inside daily supply and aligning bearish on the void, so I'm going to be looking for shorts on the Dixie, which means longs on everything else, like longs on EU, which looks very good. I'm definitely going to focus on going long on EU next week. The JPYs, by the way, do not focus much on the JPYs because they're going to be tricky. Why? Well, because if the DXY is down, USD JPY is also going to be down, which means that again, the JPY pairs are most likely going to get stuck. They could move, but they're not going to move as fast as the USD pairs. So again, be mindful of that. Aussie dollar does need a little bit more development. So again, Euro USD is the best pair to be looking at right now because AU and NU, they are a little bit sloppier, they are a little bit more bearish than they are bullish so far. Although on NZD USD, there could be a long opportunity coming in. USD, and as I told you, bearish bias right now. UCAT, I don't know what's gonna happen on this one. GBP is also needing a little bit time because unlike EU that pushed very strongly, this one is also pushing up right now. So let's see how it responds from this overall big area of demand right there, and if it's gonna show us that conviction to push up. Gold does need a little bit more time, but if the DXY falls down, then gold could potentially go up. So I'm looking forward to that. And indices, I'm gonna be calling shorts this week. Hopefully we can give like a little bit of a deeper pullback, so then we can also catch some investing opportunities. So that's how I'm gonna wrap up this week. Hopefully you guys had an incredible week. Let me know how you did in the comments. How did you perform? What did you learn? What did you trade? And let me know what is your favorite pair incoming for the next week. Now, I wish you an incredible weekend. I wish you a crushing week ahead of you, and talk to you on Tuesday.